Bitcoin is down over 1% today in the last 24 hours, and we've seen a huge kind of move in the price action, shooting all the way up to about 31,000 and then coming back down again. And in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and break down what happened kind of behind the scenes, behind the price action. We're going to take a look at chart TA, and we're going to talk about a huge options expiry that's happening tomorrow. So if this is your first time joining me, be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit that like button, and be sure to follow me on Twitter under Cody the Coin Raptor. Okay, so the reason why Bitcoin was down today is largely due to the fact that it's tracking the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ 100 was down 0.75%, and Bitcoin does tend to go a little bit higher or a little bit lower than what the NASDAQ does. So Bitcoin kind of sold off heavily today following the NASDAQ. But if we take a look at our Bitcoin chart TA, what we can see here is that we've had just this weird kind of pattern play out in which we went all the way up here to about 31,004, almost 31,500, right into that huge resistance region, and then get immediately rejected and come all the way back down again here to under 30,000. Now, this is just an absolutely wild move for Bitcoin in the span of a day, for it to go all the way up here, touch resistance, and then fall all the way back down to the next support level. So Bitcoin blasted through many different support levels. I was counting on the 200 hourly moving average to provide some kind of support. It didn't. And now the 200 hourly that we have right here, this blue line, is going to be resistance on the way back up. That's at about 30,500. Now, Bitcoin, again, went all the way down here to about 29,700 or so, but it rebounded very nicely here at about 30,000, and I think 30,000 is going to be very strong support for Bitcoin in the future, okay? So if we go ahead and take a look behind the scenes, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the perpetual futures, and we're going to see how this kind of all played out in the derivatives market. So what I have here is on CoinGlass. CoinGlass has a setup here where they show you the price, you get the open interest, you get the funding rate, and you also get liquidations as well. And I want to kind of take you guys through what happened. So first off, starting throughout the day here, we saw a huge number at the bottom here of short liquidations, which happened to propel the price much higher. Now, at this point, you had longs that are also entering in positions as well, and longs push the price all the way up here. You can see here on this open interest, we have an increasing number of contracts being opened. And then we kind of reach a peak of that, and then we start to see a decrease in the number of open contracts. So what's happening here is that Bitcoin went up, it got rejected, buyers went and entered into new contracts, and then they immediately got liquidated. And we can see here, based on the open interest, they got liquidated pretty badly. Open interest falling from about this 124 level down to here at about 101,000. And we've seen that this coincides with a massive amount of long liquidations. So the longs entered in position up here, they got liquidated, and they drove the price much lower after that point. Now, what we're also starting to see here is that the open interest, so the number of open contracts, is at a level, is at a low we haven't seen since the 18th of June. So today was a tremendous day in which both shorts and longs got liquidated, and mostly longs kind of took the brunt of this beating here. In fact, if we take a look at our Bitcoin liquidations from CoinGlass, what we can see here is that in the last 24 hours, we had over $40 million worth of Bitcoin longs get liquidated and about $20 million of Bitcoin shorts. Now, this is really interesting to kind of put this in the context of things. The context of this week has been low volume first at the start of the week, and then we've had some huge volatility swinging throughout the rest of the week. Now, with open interest being this low, we're not likely to see a large amount of volatility in the coming days. We have to see this open interest pick up in order for us to see some more volatility on the spot price. So I also want to go ahead and talk about the options expiry that's going to be happening tomorrow. If we go here to Deribit, what we can see here is that we have almost $500 million worth of calls that are expiring tomorrow, and almost $400 million worth of puts that are expiring. Now, this is interesting because if we go ahead and take a look at our max pain price, we see here at about 30,000. So the price right now that Bitcoin's at is very close here to this maximum pain price. It's entirely possible that we've already seen some liquidations, and we've seen some sellers push the price all the way down to 30,000 here in order to get to that max pain price. So that max pain theory kind of talks about sellers and buyers being attracted to this maximum pain price of about 30,000, and so that's what we've kind of started to see. So I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow we wind up sticking around this 30K level, and we'll wind up seeing a small amount of volatility for the rest of the week. Now, that being said, there's always a possibility that we get some bad news or good news that can propel us much higher or much lower depending on what happens. And Bitcoin lately has been incredibly volatile. But that being said, I also want to talk about Bitcoin on the exchanges. Now, Bitcoin on the exchanges is something I've been covering lately, but we are very close here to 2 million Bitcoin on the exchanges. Now, if you guys are paying attention and have noticed, every time I talk about this, it goes down. So we went from a peak of almost 3 million Bitcoin on the exchanges all the way down to 2 million Bitcoin on the exchanges. And we've seen people withdraw their Bitcoin and buy and just take it off completely. And the reason for that, I think, has been largely because of the positive press that Bitcoin has gotten from places like BlackRock and the other financial institutions that are interested in getting into crypto. Now, speaking of BlackRock, we have BlackRock CEO Larry Fink saying that Bitcoin could revolutionize finance. He talked about this on CNBC and saying that it's possible that we could see more tokenizations of assets and securities. So again, we have financial giants looking at Bitcoin and saying, hey, we have are clients that are interested in buying Bitcoin, so that does tend to drive people to Bitcoin to buy and then immediately pull it off the exchange for fear of BlackRock or other institutions coming and buying your Bitcoin. So we're starting to see a bit of that. We're starting to see a lot of hype in the space about that and a little bit of adoption from institutions. And I do think that as soon as we get a Bitcoin spot ETF, this exchange reserve is going to go down fairly dramatically. I mean, we could talk about a huge plunge as these ETFs have to buy Bitcoin in order to satisfy the needs for the ETF. So we're going to see a huge spike in demand for Bitcoin in the future when we wind up getting that spot ETF. Now, I also want to go ahead and talk about Ethereum. Now, the Ethereum price has also been very volatile today. You can see that Ethereum went all the way up here to about 1950 and then came all the way down here to about 1830. What a huge move for Ethereum. And now, if you take a look at the RSI, we can see the RSI is down to 24 on the hourly, meaning it's very, very oversold right now, and we're starting to see a little bit of a bounce on the Ethereum price. And what's interesting about this is that Ethereum does tend to collect in this channel down here at about 1820 all the way up to about 1858, and it's stayed within this channel several times that we've seen so far. And in fact, if you went all the way back, you can see that there are multiple times in which Ethereum has stayed within this channel. So this channel right here is a prime area for buyers to come in and buy the dip for Ethereum. So I do think this is probably going to wind up holding in the near term. But in the near term, they're also going to have to overcome resistance from your 200-week or the 200-hourly moving average here at about 1900, and then resistance here at about 1930. So we have yet to see that momentum push Ethereum any higher than those levels. Okay. Now, last thing I want to talk about is the economic calendar and what's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have U.S. non-farm payrolls. We also have the unemployment rate and hourly wages as well. And then we also have Chicago Fed President Goolsbee doing a TV interview. And so any one of these events could potentially move the market in one direction or another. If non-farm payrolls come in and it's actually higher than expected, that could be bullish. If the unemployment rate comes in lower than expected, that could be bullish. And we could wind up seeing buyers enter the market in tomorrow. But if they come in as expected, then it's entirely possible that we'll just get a kind of a low volume day, low volatility type of day, and Bitcoin will continue to trade sideways instead of attempting a breakout here at 31,400. Now, as for my overall thoughts on the market, I do believe that we will eventually get into this level right here of strong resistance. We will push eventually above this level. It's only a matter of time. And a Bitcoin spot ETF will be approved in the future. And I do think that we're likely to see that play out in the price, and the price could potentially go much higher from where it is right now, maybe to like 40,000, 45,000 or so. But I don't expect a Bitcoin spot ETF is going to be coming anytime soon, for the next couple of years for sure. But I do like the long-term prospects of Bitcoin. It's just the short term and the medium term, we're going to wind up getting some sideways chop, as well as a little bit of a dip, because we've already seen some extreme buying going on here. We've seen some extreme price action, and now Bitcoin needs to kind of consolidate sideways in order for it to achieve the next leg up. Okay, so that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about the liquidations. If you guys want to see more information about the Bitcoin options and options expiry, definitely leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about the market and what your plans are. I have no plans currently to buy any Bitcoin, especially up here. Maybe as we get back down to sub 30K, maybe if we go below 27 or something like that, I'd be interested in there. But for now, I'm not interested in adding in this region. That's all I've got for you guys today. This is Cody the Coin Raptor, and I hope to catch you in the next video.